Welcome to Almost HFY channel. This story is about what 3i Atlas really is, and the Cizan race. Like and subscribe to help us grow.
The heater clacked in the corner, fighting a losing battle against the Siberian chill. Bez hunched over the console, fingers tapping a cold mug. The blue LCD clock said 2:41. He ran the pulse sequence again, just to keep his brain moving. Ping 3i Atlas, custom train, 5 millisecond offset, repeat. For the fourth night, he was flying off script, slipping in variations of manuals wouldn't approve. Nothing. Static. A faint bump, a click, could be anything. Tonight, though, something bit back. The return packet didn't just echo. It came late, too late, and the waveform was sharp, almost stepped. Bez leaned closer. The packet danced in the spectrum analyzer, a weird notch that made no sense.
Ivan, you see this? Weird lag, like someone's bouncing my signal off a wall made of mirrors.
Maybe you broke the server again. Try rebooting. Or take a nap. You sound crazy, Bez.
Bez grinned, let the coffee warm his fingers. He watched the packet hop across the screen. Too orderly to be noise, too messy to be code. He typed a new pulse, set the sequence loose, heart beating louder. The response came again late, then early, then two at once. He logged it, copied the file, fired off a message to the chain command. Urgent. Non-random packet returns. Atlas ping. See attached.
Ivan, I'm escalating. If you don't hear from me, I've either gone mad or made history.
If you see little green men, take a photo. If they're hiring, I'll send a resume.
Bez sat back, eyes heavy. The screen flickered. For a heartbeat, he thought he saw a shape, a shadow, a silhouette where nothing should be. The coffee tasted burnt and metallic. The heater kicked off. The control room settled into its usual insomnia.
Seriously, Bez, get some sleep. No packet is worth frostbite.
He almost laughed. Until the screens all went white. The air popped, dry and electric. Next to him, with a flash and the faint scent of ozone, a girl appeared. Long silver white hair, eyes the color of green lasers, smiling like she had been there all along. Bez jerked, flinched, the mug jerked in his hand. Coffee shot out, splattering across the keyboard in his coat. He coughed, wiped his sleeve, eyes wide.
That was quite an entrance. Sorry about the coffee. May I sit?
Ivan's voice crackled over the radio, distant, confused. Bez? You okay over there? What was that? Some kind of surge.
Ivan, there's a girl in the control room. She, what? She just appeared.
Celia smiled, her hands folded neatly, as if meeting an old friend for coffee on a winter night. Bez could barely breathe. The heater groaned back to life. But inside, every sound seemed to wait for what she would say next. The coffee steam slowly faded from the console. Celia lowered herself onto the old folding chair beside Bez, her movement gentle, deliberate, almost rehearsed.
You don't need to be afraid. My name is Celia. Both of you, have done something remarkable.
Who is that? Bez, who's on the line with us? Is this some kind of test?
Celia pressed two fingers to a thin bracelet at her wrist. Ivan's voice sharpened. Something in the line changed. A background hum that made Bez's hair stand up.
Ivan, you are receiving me on a secure channel now. Please listen. The object you have been pinging, 3i Atlas, is not a comet. It is a Celia probe. They are not friendly and their protocol is strict.
The wind rattled the door. Just once, Bez kept his hands flat on the console, knuckles pale.
It is critical you do not escalate this up the chain in the wrong way. You must report only the anomalous signals, as if they are bounced traffic technical mishaps. I will help you manage the data.
And if we don't, what happens then?
Then you risk triggering the probe's failsafe. The Zelians do not ask questions. They classify and they act.
Bez felt his pulse in his fingertips, hard and insistent. Celia sat, hands folded in her lap, as if she could wait 1,000 years for their answer. Ivan was silent. Somewhere, a line buzzed, carrying the whole weight of Earth's night with it. The bunker felt smaller now, Bez aware of every glowing LED, every hum and flicker. Celia moved from screen to screen, hands never quite touching the keys, reading graphs at a glance. Ivan's voice was tight in Bez's headset. This is nuts. Who is she? What do we tell command if they start sniffing around?
For now, you tell them nothing. We must blend your data with controlled noise, mask the anomalies before anyone else starts watching.
She brought up a waveform, spiky, unnatural, dancing in red and green. Her fingers moved in precise, minimalist gestures. A few lines of code rewrote the echo patterns, folding them into what looked like random static.
Here, overlay this waveform onto your outbound pulses to Atlas. It will mask return signatures temporarily if you keep the amplitude just below system thresholds.
You want us to spoof a probe built by what? Alien engineers? That's a hell of a bet.
Bez, you realize this is insane, yes? If this doesn't work, we're the ones on the chopping block.
If it does not work, there will be no one left to answer for it. But if you execute precisely, you will buy time, hours, maybe days. Long enough for your people to understand what they are facing.
Bez swallowed, fingers trembling just enough to make the mouse jitter across the pad. Ivan began to patch the signals, muttering curses half under his breath.
It must look like a transmission error. Random, but not so random it draws attention. Think of it as a stealth disturbance, a fog in the channel.
On the screen, the probe's echo flickered and warped, hidden under Celia's fog. The tension didn't ease. But for the first time that night, Bez felt the flicker of real agency, a chance, however small, to steer the ship before the current pulled them under. The hum of the server rack faded into a new kind of silence. Bez glanced at the code on screen, the fog overlay running live. Celia studied the cascade of network lights, her posture suddenly sharper, an edge in her stillness.
Even if you mask the probe's signal here, it is not enough. The Zelians designed Atlas to scan globally, multiple points, coordinated returns. If only one station feeds it clean data, the mask fails.
I might have a workaround. You know how many bored, paranoid geniuses haunt the darknet at this hour? Give me the files. I'll scramble them, push them out as a bug bounty, maybe as encrypted art. Some kid in Prague or Mumbai will have your signal bouncing through every hacked telescope in under an hour.
Celia's lips twitched, a smile, or maybe something older, approval disguised as calculation.
That will help. If enough telescopes create interference, Atlas will have to run internal error protocols. It will delay its scans. It buys us days, maybe more.
You're saying the fate of Earth hangs on a handful of hackers with nothing better to do.
Earth's official defenses are inadequate. Your militaries cannot touch the probe. If it transmits scan data unimpeded, the Zelians will review it. If they classify Earth as a pest world, they will return. And sanitization is not a metaphor.
Bez's fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling up encrypted chat windows, side forums, old IRC ghosts he hadn't pinged in years. Packet lost party, he typed in one thread, uploading the fog waveform as challenge data. Screens across the world blinked to life in basements and bedrooms, wild eyes chasing the weirdest packet they'd ever seen.
Now we wait, and hope your underworld has more heart than your governments.
For the first time, Bez heard something almost human in her voice. Not hope, but the ghost of it. Beyond the bunker, 1,000 satellites blinked, and somewhere, the probe spun, caught in a web it could not yet see. The world twisted sideways, metal, ozone, cold concrete, then a burst of damp green. Bez landed hard on his knees beside a drooping monstera. Before his brain caught up, his stomach declared independence. He emptied his guts into the nearest flower pot. A desk lamp flickered on. Across the room, a tall, sharp-eyed man in a battered cardigan stared, one hand frozen over a mug of coffee. Lavi Boeb looked from Bez to Celia, to the plant, to the glowing outline on the floor.
I don't recall inviting guests, much less ones who travel by whatever that was. Much less ones who travel by whatever that was.
Bez wiped his mouth, muttered an apology to the plant, and lurched upright, pale and sweating.
Dr. Boeb, my name is Celia. This is Bez. I apologize for the abrupt arrival. We have no time for protocol. The situation is urgent, and you are the most informed human on the Atlas problem.
If this is a prank, it's impressively elaborate. And if it isn't, you're about to tell me everything I don't want to know, aren't you?
Celia nodded once, crisp, as if her entire existence ran on a schedule with no margin for doubt.
The object you have tracked as 3I Atlas is a Zillion probe. It is conducting a planetary scan. If its data is transmitted without interference, your planet will be classified for pest sanitization. Your expertise in signal analysis and your ability to reach scientific networks outside official channels is now critical.
Lavi put down his mug, hands suddenly steady. His eyes flicked to Bez, still swaying, then back to Celia, searching for the punchline and finding none.
Sanitization, as in extermination?
That is the word they use. We have ours. If you want humanity to have a chance, we must begin now.
The only sound was a faint trickle of water in the Monstera's pot, and Bez's ragged breathing as the weight of worlds settled in Lavi's silent lab. For a long moment, nobody moved. Lavi's eyes darted from Celia's calm face to Bez's clammy one, then to the battered desk, where he yanked open a drawer. He pulled out a squat bottle, poured 2 fingers into a chip glass, and downed it in one.
I've been trying to get people to listen for months. I always figured it'd take a miracle or a disaster.
He poured another glass, left it on the table for Bez, who shook his head and staggered toward the window for air. Celia took a seat at the desk, her presence making even the mess of papers look orderly.
We need to move quickly. You have networks, Lavi. Trusted channels. I will give you a technical framework, how to blend and scatter the masking signals. Galileo can distribute the load.
Galileo isn't official anymore. That's the point. It'll ping the old hands, the crackpots and outcasts. If anyone still trusts me, we can get jamming data onto every major node inside an hour.
Celia slid a drive across the table. Lavi's fingers hovered, then closed over it, his face unreadable, but his hand sure.
There are instructions, signal templates, error matrices, fallback codes. It must look like coincidence. If the Zillions suspect interference, the window closes.
If we pull this off, I'm buying you a drink, Celia. And Bez gets the pot.
Bez managed a shaky laugh from the window, but the truth in the room was heavy and sharp. Lavi snapped to work, voice low and urgent as he reached out across the Galileo back channels. A ghost network now alive with a new kind of hope and the first stirrings of real human resistance. The old Galileo dish was half buried in snow and dust, but when Lavi sent the code, its drive motor stuttered, then spun. The antenna groaning toward the slice of sky where Atlas burned cold and silent. Bez patched in the downlink, static, then a sharp digital heartbeat, like someone knocking once on a door you'd almost forgotten.
I've got a lock. There's a carrier, but the modulation's all wrong for natural objects. I'm streaming the raw feed to your console, Lavi.
Celia hovered behind them, almost not breathing. She watched the waveforms crawl across the screen, alien intricate. Then a pattern, like a fingerprint repeating under layers of noise.
That's not background. That's the probe talking, to itself, maybe, or checking for eavesdroppers.
Good. If we can hear its handshake, we can predict when it will transmit home. That's our window, when to jam, when to hide, when to send false signals.
The data kept flowing, dense, unreadable, but strangely beautiful. Bez tuned the filters, sweat beating at his temple, while Lavi started a recorder and scrawled equations on the glass with a dry erase pen.
Never thought I'd be stealing secrets from an alien bureaucrat, but here we are.
The room felt smaller, with every line of code. As if the whole world was pressed up against a window, waiting for a single packet to decide its fate. The city outside was still, a slow river of sodium light through dirty glass. In the tangle of routers, solder fumes, and instant ramen, Sasha blinked at the ping. Galileo protocol, unlocked. The packet came in hot, flag with Lavis mark. His screens came alive, lines of raw signal. The sonogram shimmered, then locked. Sasha's fingers danced. Filters up, spectrum split, old fast telescope outputs cued for cross-check. He watched as a new data overlaid his own, an image resolving. Sharp as a razor, the body of 3i Atlas so clear he felt his pulse in his teeth. No dust blur, no noise. Atlas stretched across the screen, cylindrical, alien, detailed. Features he'd only guessed in the fast noise now glared out, undeniable.
Shit. That's not a comet. That's not a comet. Lavi, you beautiful lunatic. You got it.
He mashed the horn, a siren on the comms net, all the gray hats on his channel lighting up. Fingers flew. Screenshot, annotate, drop coordinates, timestamps, overlays, everything. He slammed the go key, data scatter into the shadow webs, to every watcher, doubter, and quiet believer.
All nodes, wake up. Galileo just delivered the Holy Grail. Real imagery, no artifacts. It's here. Atlas is real, and it's not what we thought. Pull the old fast records. Cross-run now. Someone call the math gods. This is the proof.
On his second screen, chat windows lit up, ghost handles, old friends, and rivals coming out of the woodwork. In the glow of 100 monitors, as the world began to wake, Sasha's hand shook, caught in the sweet, terrifying certainty of seeing too much too soon. Out there, somewhere in the dark, Atlas turned beneath a borrowed sun, and on Earth, the first true alarm had been sounded, not by governments, but by the watchers at the edge. Lavis Lab vanished in a blink, air thickening, vision blurring, Bez's lungs tight with static and a metallic tang. A heartbeat later, his boots crunch into old snow and oily gravel. The floodlights of Bez's base burned through the cold, painting the prefab buildings in blue-white glare. Diesel drifted sharp in the back of his throat. Celia let go of his arm. She tapped her bracelet and, like film flickering, her hair dulled, her eyes shifting to a careful, unremarkable brown. For an instant, Bez just stared.
We just jumped.
Teleportation. Easier than bribing the border guard.
2 maintenance workers trudged past without a glance. Nobody noticed, nobody cared. The night was thinning, blue dawn filtering over the lot. Celia nodded toward the cafeteria, warm light leaking past a battered door. Inside, tired voices and clatter echoed. The mess line crawled forward, cafeteria trays, dented kettles, the heavy aroma of something boiled and gamey. Bez fell in beside Celia, still feeling the whiplash in his bones. She melted into the line, now just another bleary-eyed researcher. The cook, Irina, gave him a crooked grin.
Well, look who brought a friend. Nice catch, Bez. She eat roadkill? Or does she want the scientist special?
2 of the usual, Irina. Anything hot.
They slid into a corner booth, trays steaming with mystery meat gray potatoes, and something orange that was a carrot in another life. Bez studied Celia, now perfectly ordinary in the dirty light.
So, that cover story you mentioned? Where are you from, really?
Astrophysics postdoc on paper. Rented flat by the river, leaky pipes, government mail, stray rats running around. I work, pay taxes, blend in. Until Atlas forced my orders.
Orders from who? And you. You're not like us. Close, but...
Cizan. My people have been here nearly a century. Watching mostly an underground society. Living among humans, keeping quiet. We only show ourselves when it can't be helped.
Bez chewed in silence, the world somehow both weirder and warmer. Outside, base alarms warble for shift change, and Irina poured another round of instant coffee. The day beginning as if nothing at all had changed. Night pressed at the windows, city lights washing the walls in blue and amber stripes. After 2 days of burnt coffee, code, and cosmic dread, Even the walk outside felt slow and heavy. Celia moved carefully, her shoulders tucked in, face half turned from the streetlights. She took Bez's hand, soft, just a squeeze, grounding. Her eyes flicked up then around. The street was empty but for the humming sodium lamps and the echo of far-off engines.
Do you dare sleep with an alien in the same room? Or are you going to keep watch all night?
Bez swallowed, once then again, and nodded, lips curling as he tried for bravado. Celia's mouth twitched. She tapped her bracelet. The city peeled away in a single, quiet rush, no cold, no light. And suddenly they were inside. A small apartment. Radiator clanking, 2 chairs, 1 desk, laundry piled in the corner. Celia let go of his hand and shimmered. Skin shifting, grayish tone returning, her true self filtering back. Bez blinked, swayed, no panic, just a heavy, slow wonder at seeing her unveiled. He traced the room with his eyes, threadbare rug, stacks of books, the faint, clean smell of something green.
So where do I sleep?
Celia smiled, pulled off her sweater, hair falling loose, shoulders suddenly soft.
With me. Only one bed. Don't worry, Bez. I won't bite. Not tonight.
She took his hand again, led him across the little room. The bed was barely wide enough for 2. The sheets were cool, the quilt heavy with old cotton and borrowed heat. Bez hesitated, then grinned when Celia poked his ribs with 2 fingers, rolling her eyes at his nerves. They lay side by side, a quiet space between them, both listening to the apartment's soft clicks and the faint city outside. Bez stared up at the low ceiling, thoughts tumbling, heart slowing for the first time in days. He glanced at her, Celia's eyes already closed, breath steady and deep, her face unguarded in sleep. Bez reached for the edge of the quilt, pulled it up around them, and let exhaustion pull him under, the last things on his mind. Probes, data, and a beautiful, impossible girl in a city that finally felt less empty. Morning crept through the thin curtains, laying a soft gold across the messy bed. Bez woke to warmth at his side, Celia's arm draped over him, her cheek pressed to his shoulder, her breath warm on his neck. He froze, then relaxed. Her grip tightened as she yawned, stretching like a cat before rolling onto her back.
You snore, you know. Loud enough to shake the windows.
He blushed, grinned, but didn't pull away. The air was easy, the awkwardness gone, replaced by something that felt like they'd done this for years. They made breakfast in companionable silence, toast, butter, half-burnt coffee. Celia moved with the kind of gentle familiarity that should have felt wrong, but just felt right. She flicked on the battered TV. Lavi Boeb's face filled the screen, hair sticking out, eyes intense, hands sketching signals in the air.
If you monitor the object known as 3i Atlas, you may detect a series of anomalous signals, non-natural, pulsed, not consistent with cometary physics. We urge all observers to proceed with caution, share no unvetted data, and, for now, study in silence. Sometimes, the universe is watching back.
Celia laughed, a quiet, delighted sound.
That one. Lavi's the guerrilla soldier humanity needs. Always knows which buttons not to push.
Bez watched her pour coffee, felt a strange certainty that she belonged here, as if the past 2 days had welded their lives together. After breakfast, they walked to the lab. The familiar corridors now buzzing with quiet tension. As they approached, Bez caught sight of a superior, a tall, tired man in a rumpled suit, scanning the main screen with a frown. Celia slowed, let Bez go in first, then followed, face cool, posture precise. The superior turned, eyes sharp.
Bez, and you must be Dr. Celia Markov? We were told from Moscow that SETI has posted you here as expert on the Atlas anomalies.
Yes. Markov, Astrophysics, Signal Analysis. I arrived yesterday. I'll be working alongside Dr. Bez for the duration of this investigation.
She shook the superior's hand. Firm, formal, almost theatrical. He nodded, satisfied, and made a note on his clipboard.
Good. I expect daily reports. Nothing leaves the base without clearance. Moscow is watching this one closely. Dr. Markov, perhaps you'd brief us on your initial findings. And what, exactly, you hope to achieve with this scatter protocol.
Of course, the scatter protocol is designed to analyze how our ping interacts with the target 3i atlas. By varying the pulse train and monitoring echo dispersion, we can distinguish between natural cometary material and, well, more structured, anomalous returns. The object's responses show sharp periodicity and time lag that can't be explained by normal coma or tail structures. In simple terms, the probe is talking back, not just reflecting.
She tapped the display, calling up the waveform jagged rhythmic, not quite random.
I'd also recommend we pay close attention to Dr. Lavi Boeb's ongoing transmission. His Galileo group has detected similar signal anomalies. Their global network gives us valuable outside confirmation. Any deviation in our local scatter data that matches Galileo's findings should be considered significant.
Boeb's team, yes. Moscow has some concerns about their independence, but their data is interesting.
We've already aligned our ping schedule with Galileo's recommendations. If their readings and ours line up, we can be sure this isn't noise.
Celia nodded, meeting the superior's eyes without flinching, her tone the picture of scientific caution. But her foot just barely brushed Bez's under the desk. The superior watched them both for a beat, then made another note on his clipboard.
Very well. Keep me informed. And if Boeb finds anything we need to see, forward it immediately.
When the door finally closed behind him, Celia let her shoulders drop just enough for Bez to see her relief. The performance had worked. For now. As the superior left, Celia's hand touched Bez's cheek, just a second too long, her fingers lingering, a hidden smile warming her eyes.
My network has feet in the SETI organization. We'll keep them just confused enough to give us room to work.
Bez felt his nerves steady, heartbeat slowing. With Celia at his side, even the weirdest day at the lab felt almost normal. The TV in the corner flickered, Lavi Boeb's voice rising in outrage, hands waving, signals scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Celia watched, a small, satisfied smile curling at her mouth.
Every minute he rants, we get 10 more to work in peace.
Remind me to send him a thank you card.
Outside, orders trickled in, permission granted, protocols loosened. For once, the noise was working in their favor. Outside, the corridors glowed with late shift fatigue. Inside the lab, Celia tugged the blinds closed and dimmed the screens, shadows pooling in the corners.
We have one more problem. The probe doesn't just scan in light and radio. It calls home using subspace. That's how it can report across light years instantly.
Subspace? Like science fiction? You're serious.
My diploma is in radio, not warp drive.
Celia smiled, tight, a little sad. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a thin, dark chip, smaller than a coin, pulsing with blue light. She set it on the desk. The monitors flickered, static whispering across the speakers.
Watch.
The screen flashed, not with numbers, but with symbols, alien, shifting, flowing like water. A second later, the mainframe beeped. A line of local code scrolled by, then echoed back, delayed, but altered.
That shouldn't be possible.
It is. Subspace protocols ride on top of your local networks, but with an extra layer outside your physics. The probe will try to send a status ping soon. If it gets a clear line, the real Earth can be exposed depending on what it has managed to scan. We have to flood the channel, fake data, harmless static, patterns that say nothing of interest here.
Tell us how. I never thought I'd have to spoof an alien in my lifetime.
Celia began to walk them through the sequence, handwriting patterns on the glass, mapping how human gear could ride the edge of the real signal, and teaching them how to hide a planet from a galactic census. In the corner, Bez's old clock ticked on, measuring out the strange new world, one heartbeat at a time. Bez's hands hovered over the console, breath held. The screen split, Lavi Boeb's wild silhouette, Galileo monitors blinking. On the other side, Atlas glinting from the telescope feed.
All right, you're patched into Galileo's back channel. As soon as you trigger the scatter, we'll monitor all 3 feeds. If Atlas tries to call home, we'll catch the handshake.
Subspace protocol is online.
Bez, scatter sequence ready.
When the probe initiates, our overlay will intercept and spoof the status return.
As ready as we'll ever be.
Ivan toggled the scatter. Celia's hands flicker across the subspace console, blue light reflecting in her eyes. The hum deepened. Strange, not of any human machine. In the next instant, a surge, a heavy boing, echoed to the Galileo audio, so deep it rattled their bones. Atlas flared on the monitors, waveform spiking, then resolving, a complex handshake, alien packets blooming, a digital breath held.
Stand by. Subspace handshake intercepted. Faking status confirmation. Scattering probe telemetry. And return.
On the Galileo scope, Atlas' signal paused, then settled. The call home had succeeded, but only their fake, empty packet reached beyond the solar system. The real scan, garbled, smudged by scatter, remained locked inside the probe, nowhere to go. Lavi's eyes went wide with joy and disbelief.
You did it! Atlas thinks Earth is boring. The census will read no anomalies detected.
Bez slumped back, relief loosening his jaw. Ivan fist pumped the air. Celia just closed her eyes, a slow exhale. For now, humanity was hidden in the static, and the universe turned none the wiser. In the half-lit rooftop lab above a repurposed vape lounge, Daga leaned back in her chair, feet on the radiator, bowl of cold pierogi beside a glowing tower of routers. Her screen flickered, Galileo backchannel trace active, full signal sync. Vapor curled from her mouth as she exhaled a long hit of something homemade and questionably legal. On screen, the Atlas handshake began to ripple.
All right, let's see if the big boys did their homework.
She dragged the packet trace into a waterfall display. Staggered frequency spread. Timing pulses too perfect to be natural. The scatter pattern blurred the scan. Smudged edges, no return confirmed. But something in the echo rang wrong. A harmonic shift, like the packet didn't die. It morphed.
Wait, that's not a reflection.
She dropped into spectral analysis, then a sonogram overlay. The packet had rebroadcast itself autonomously, just past Saturn's orbital shadow. A low whine sang from her speakers, then silence. Daga froze, fingers hovering, pupils wide now. The empty packet was still transmitting, but now outbound.
What the hell are you?
She backed up the trace, reran the last frame. Within the noise, a shape, not letters, not math. Geometry, folded space in data form, not a language, a location.
Galileo, you missed it. It bounced after your block. It's calling again, just not to you.
She slammed keys, routed the packet into sandbox RAM, started a cascade dump, one screen filling with raw echo, another with hash IDs, a third with coordinates triangulating like sparks. Her comm channel exploded with pings, other watchers feeling the tremor, confused. Daga didn't answer. She was already in too deep, vape fog rising, heart thudding in time with the beat of a signal that shouldn't exist.
It's not going home. It's going somewhere else.
They tumbled into her apartment, limbs heavy, laughter muffled by the dark. Bez left his shoes in the hall. Celia pulled him down beside her, quilt cool, skin flushed from the walk. They lay closer now, legs tangled, breath sinking. The city outside was a hush of sodium and wind, and between the quiet in her hands, sleep came fast, unfurling in heavy, dreamless waves. Sometime before dawn, the silence shattered. First, Celia's calm chirped, urgent, then wild. Bez's phone buzzed off the nightstand, then began to shriek. Lavi's voice punched through a dozen layers of static, so loud it rattled the glass.
Wake up! It's not leaving, it's breaking. Atlas just dropped velocity hard. I'm reading a course change, vectoring in, straight at Earth. It's... Jesus, someone pinged it, hard enough to get its attention. China, maybe. You need to see this.
Bez clawed upright, hard in his throat, quilt dragging to the floor. Celia's hair was wild, her eyes already clear. She yanked her comm to speaker, voice low but electric.
Lavi, send your data, live feed. Bez, get your terminal now.
Bare feet skidding. They scramble for cables. Screens flaring in the dark. Lavi's voice tumbled from every device, frantic, overrun by alerts.
Tracking confirms, Atlas is slowing. Delta V spike, new burn profile. It's not just drifting. It's looking.
Celia's knuckles whitened on the edge of the desk. Bez watched the live plot, a cold arc curling in, the impossible red vector. All the soft heat between them now swept away, replaced by the cold rush of history turning.
So that's it. The game just changed.
Celia leaned into his side, searching his face, fear, wonder, and something fierce. In the glare of the screens, her skin glowed green. Outside, the city slept on, dreaming old dreams, while Atlas, far above, pivoted its gaze toward the only home they had. One instant, Celia gripping Bez's arm, screens casting ghost light over bare skin. The next, the world warped, colors flooding sideways, bones humming. They dropped into Lavi's bunker. Concrete walls, coil heaters, smell of metal and instant coffee. Celia doubled over, coughing, then taking out her comm, sliding a data stick into Lavi's cracked console, live feed flickering onto the main monitor. The image flared green and gold. Atlas, huge, cylindrical, with two smaller objects flanking. Spikes of energy bloomed from their hulls. No mere sunlight. Lavi's chair scraped the floor as he lurched forward, squinting.
That's not light. Those spikes. The spectrum's wrong.
Overlay gravitational displacement, not EM. The probe's pushing a field like a wake in deep water. The main object's mass is off the charts.
Bez leaned in, eyes wide. The display shifted, data layers stacking. One readout pulse heavy red. Mass estimates scrolling numbers Bez could barely parse.
The second object, that's not a probe, not at that mass. Maybe a scout ship. The third object fits, smaller, but fast. And the way it's slaved, it's getting orders, not making them.
If the scout aims for your Lagrange point, it could block or hijack comms, even anchor a base. The probe's coming faster, ETA 6 weeks, best case.
Ava's data stream ticked in, trajectories plotted across a looping sky. 3 lines, all burning straight at the planet's soft spots.
We need to warn everyone. Release this. Mask the weirdest data, but get the signal out. Use every network. SETI, Galileo, NASA amateurs.
Immorphing the scan, enough to trigger flags, not enough to scream alien. It'll wake every major node, NASA, CNSA, ESA, India.
Celia's hands flew, splicing, encrypting, dumbing down the strangest frames. Bez shunted packets to every underworld and official channel he could find. Lavi checked frequencies, tracing every anomalous comm across the sky. On the main monitor, the scout and probe swung into clearer view, spines flaring like distant animals flexing to show their teeth.
The world's going to wake up with a hell of a headache.
For a heartbeat, all 3 watched the spinning planet on the display. Tiny blue, exposed beneath the shadow of 3 burning lines. Celia, voice almost lost, now we see who's listening back. The bunker felt even smaller, data screaming from every monitor, greenish glare throwing sharp shadows. Celia's comm vibrated. She went still, too still. Bez watched the air leave her, each breath slow and measured.
My superiors. They've decided to go public. Every country, every channel. Simultaneous disclosure to all government networks. No more camouflage.
She slid off her jacket, letting the bunker's cold light hit her face. Skin gray, no longer just odd but truly alien, her green eyes flaring neon in the monitor glow. Lavi stared, mouth open. Bez simply nodded, something in his eyes resigned or maybe proud. Lavi's hand trembled as he grabbed the bottle from the table, tipped it back for a burning swallow.
Well, what the hell do we do now? If the whole world's watching, what's our next play?
Celia's tone turned analytical, her posture firmer, a scientist again, even as her skin caught the bunker's blue light.
The Zalani craft. There are irregularities. It isn't behaving like their recent probes. The mass drive even the comms. Old patterns scavenged code. It's possible this vessel is ancient repurposed. Meaning we can't predict what ITLL do.
So we're flying blind. Great.
Our best bet, track every signal. And try to jam the main object's subspace comms. It's not much, but it's time.
An alarm shrieked. Lavi jerked upright, hands flying over the console.
Talking of devils. It's communicating again. Subspace burst, but we can block this, it's too far off, not even in our line of sight.
His fingers flicked a switch, projecting the feed across the wall. Amid the usual static, a second signature pulsed, tight, directed, unmistakable. Lavi froze. His voice came out strangled.
There's another signal. Something in orbit. Not us. Not them.
Celia snatched her tablet, hands darting, her brows furrowed, green eyes flaring as she ran a dozen overlays. Graviton scans, EM sweeps, all frequencies.
Nothing in your military registry at those coordinates. No standard comms, no black satellites. Graviton scans blank. Something's there, but it's hidden.
She pressed a key. Everything inverted. EM, gravity, neutrino data gone. What remained, a faint, pulsing blob, moving just outside Zalani's main channel.
Something is helping. Not Selene. Not Zalani. Another player hidden in the noise.
For a long breath, none of them spoke. Just the bunker lights humming, the wall blooming with the faint, alien signature of an unknown ally or adversary. Morning crept over the city like a hangover. Krakow's skyline blinked orange through dirty glass, and Daga sat cross-legged in a hoodie, surrounded by LEDs, ramen cups, and the constant whir fans. Her screens buzzed Galileo feeds, Lagrange ping logs, and a recursive crawl of everything between 10 hertz and ultraviolet. Something was missing. Not a spike. Not a jam. A hole. She pulled her headphones down, stared at the waterfall display. Earth's orbital shell had always been noisy. Junk bands, comms, telemetry backscatter from old satellites, even a few odd warbles from fast walkers. Now a quadrant was dark, not quiet, dead.
Okay, no way, that's just dropout.
She scrolled back 6 hours, signal haze, random garbage, the usual mess. Then snap, clean cut, a void opened just past geostationary band. Perfectly spherical, too smooth to be human tech, like something was eating the noise.
That's not natural. That's intentional.
She flipped to a crossfeed from an Indian amateur array. Same blind spot. Chinese satellite logs scrambled but matched. One observer in Brazil tagged the sector as black ice, non-reflective, non-scattering. Daga's vape hissed as she pulled, blew a long, thoughtful cloud into the red morning light.
You sneaky fucker. You're not just listening. You're here.
She cross-referenced the sector with the Atlas spoof path. It matched. The false packet went dark in this quadrant. Something had caught it mid-transit. Not gravity. Not a comm relay. Something waiting.
All right, Galileo?
You missed a guest.
Her hands moved fast now, clipping spectrograms, isolating the noise hollow, tracking perimeter like a crime scene. One screen buzz, an alert from a node in northern Canada. Same silence, same vector. Daga's fingers hovered, then tapped a single encrypted contact. Lavi Boeb.
Boeb, I didn't know what your team spoofed, but it pinged something already in orbit. We've got a ghost zone above us, quiet as vacuum, spherical decay pattern, zero reflect. It's not broadcasting, it's listening.
The message sent, Daga slumped back in her chair, staring at the blank wedge of space. For the first time, she didn't feel high. She felt watched. The air buzzed, an electric, low-frequency thrum that prickled skin. In the corner, shadows coiled, folding in on themselves until a dark gray figure materialized, tall, androgynous, neither male nor female in Bez's eyes, nothing like Celia. Celia straightened, face suddenly solemn. She nodded to the newcomer, a gesture of deep respect. Bez barely breathed, heart pounding in his chest. The figure's presence filled the bunker. Strange gravity, heavy and calm. Its skin was charcoal, eyes a deep metallic blue. Its uniform shimmered, all seams and unreadable insignia. Bez searched the silhouette for any familiar markers and found none. Then it spoke, voice rough, echoing as if through many rooms at once.
I am Commander Sash of Earth Space Cizan Watchers. I speak to you and many others at the same moment. Data you have received from my comms officer Celia through various networks will reveal the threat coming from the object you know as 3I Atlas. We are here to assist. You need not fear this abrupt contact. We have existed side by side with humanity for more than a century. Other contacts were made long before that. Most of your governments have some idea of our existence. We have intervened in your world's crises before. This time, we reveal ourselves openly to all governments, simultaneously. We have no intention to harm. Celia and my other assistants will aid you in any way possible with technology you do not currently possess. If necessary, we will fight back. Our defense positions will appear on your tactical maps within seconds.
On every nearby terminal, tactical overlays flickered, maps filling with hundreds of new signals. 450 pale blue blobs materialized, evenly scattered across continents and oceans. Lavi's jaw dropped, eyes darting between the displays. Bez blinked, sweat prickling down his back.
The threat from what appears to be a Zalani probe is not entirely clear. Standard probes do not deploy scout craft. They scan planets, call home for pest removal, and enable tourist colonies. They have done so to Cizan worlds and others in the past. This time, the behavior is anomalous. We hope to meet this threat in peaceful collaboration with humanity. All information from us is now available freely. Sash out.
The figure faded, dissolving into a shimmer of shadow and air. For a moment, the bunker was silent but for the gentle hum of machines and the distant heartbeat of the world, now mapped in blue lights and open secrets. The shimmer of Sash was still fading from the air when a tone pinged across Lavi's console, a direct trace encrypted link. Handle, Dag Void Core. Lavi tapped to accept. A moment later, Daga's face filled the corner of the screen. Hood up, eyes wide, vape smoke curling in lazy spirals.
So that just happened. Your shadow boss just decloaked in my chat log too. I don't know what kind of interdimensional update that was, but my vape just blinked in Morse.
Consider it your official field promotion. You're now our lead absence analyst.
Great! Lead nothing watcher. Just what my resume needed.
Lavi leaned forward, face serious now, eyes flicking across Daga's signal graphs in the background.
You said earlier you saw a spherical dead zone in Earth orbit? Silence where there should be junk noise?
Still there. It moves. Same curve as the Atlas redirect path. Like it's tailing us, but not talking. No backscatter, no emissions. It's like the void got teeth.
Good. Then I want you to build a detector. Something pattern-based. Not what's there, what isn't. Silence across dynamic bands. Recalculate your FFT transforms, look for consistency in gaps. Like a star field with a byte taken out.
Daga blinked. Her fingers already danced across her keyboard.
You're saying find the anti-signal?
Exactly. Track the void like a shadow on snow. If it moves, we want to know. If it multiplies, we sound every alarm on Earth.
Behind her, spectrograms recompiled, flat bands blooming into dark pulses, null gaps arranged like petals in motion. The blind spot was shifting, not random. It had intent.
This thing's not dead. It's listening to us not noticing it.
Then let's return the favor.
The line went quiet. In the dark rooftop lab, the girl with vape-stained sleeves began building the first pattern sense of humanity had ever aimed at nothing. And high above, in that perfect slice of silence, something shifted course, slowly, deliberately, as if it, too, had been watching all along. The room had shifted. Screens everywhere, old folding chairs, enough empty mugs to stage a rebellion. In the corner, a makeshift desk. Lavi hunched over a keyboard, lines deepening on his face. The low rumble of voices. Earth Command patched in from a windowless office, their tone brittle and sharp. Celia, scrolling through a diagnostic, let the humans talk it out.
What can we trust here, Dr. Boeb? How do we know these Cizan aren't another threat in disguise?
Lavi rolled his eyes at the ceiling, then met Celia's gaze, a silent, weary agreement passing between them. Bez leaned against a bank of servers, arms crossed but attentive.
Everything checks out. I've reviewed all their data, every signal, every solution Celia's given us. If they wanted to do harm, we'd be vapor by now. Their technical edge isn't just decades ahead, it's centuries. All they've done is help. Every move Celia's made has been to solve a problem, not create one.
A long silence hung over the line. Lavi leaned back, fingers laced behind his head, the edge gone from his shoulders for the first time in days.
So you're saying resistance is pointless? That we just follow her lead?
No, I'm saying we work as a team. If you want to survive, take help where it's offered. Celia hasn't pressured anyone, just presented facts and solutions we'd never reach alone. That's what makes her trustworthy. And besides, I trust nobody. But I trust her.
Bez grinned, raising a mug in salute. Celia shot him a quick smile, her posture easing. For a brief minute, the bunker felt like a home, not a foxhole. Outside, the world waited. Inside, a fragile, stubborn hope crackled in the air, stronger for being shared.
Fine. But if we're to believe this isn't a hostile infiltration, we still need countermeasures. Eyes in orbit. Intercepts. What defenses are you building, Dr. Boeb?
Lavi didn't sigh, but it was a near thing. He tapped a few keys, brought up a feed, Daga's new spectrogram overlays pulsing like ghost sonar across the screen.
We've got a young analyst tracking the void signatures, signal nulls where interference should exist. She's already confirmed mobility patterns on the blind spot your satellites haven't even flagged. Her prototype detector converts absence into motion, a reverse sonar for whatever's cloaked up there. It's crude now. But it's working.
Analyst? What agency?
Freelance. Smart. Reliable. Grey hat, by way of Krakow. And before you ask, no, she's not under your jurisdiction. She's under mine.
Celia looked up at that, just briefly. Bez gave a short, approving nod. Lavi continued before command could interrupt.
I've built a network, call it informal, call it rogue. The people working on this aren't all military. Some aren't even scientists. But they've solved problems faster than any committee you've assembled. They see patterns, build tools, improvise in hours what labs take weeks to authorize. They are not a threat. They're your best chance.
So you're telling us to back off.
In telling you to let the people already listening keep listening. When the void moves, well, no. When the scout flinches, well, see it. But only if you don't scare away the ghosts watching the shadows for us. Stay out of our way, and we might just keep you alive.
The audio cut. No goodbye. Just static. Lavi stood slowly, joints popping, the moment settling in like gravity. On the far monitor, the blind spot post, still silent, still circling. In Krakow, Daga's spectrograms scroll with perfect patience, marking every absence like a heartbeat in the dark. Celia turned to Lavi, voice low but warm.
That was diplomatic.
That was me being nice.
The war room breathed, not with orders or protocols, but with intent. On every screen, across continents and cables, the unofficial resistance stirred. Rogue coders, bored astronomers, field mechanics, broken scientists. The ones who saw the flicker in the static and whispered, I think something's out there. With the world on watch, Lavi finally let himself collapse into a bunk, leaving others to run the defense boards. Bez and Celia slipped out, the transporter humming them back to the old canteen, half empty, fluorescent light haloed in steam. They sat close, trays clattering, and for a while, the work faded, replaced by warmth and hunger. Under the table, Celia's hand wandered to Bez's, fingers tracing lines, not quite letting go. A man in a worn blazer paused at their table, grinning. He nodded at Celia, then at Bez, a friend's approval in the arch of his brow.
You're good for him. And full disclosure, I saw your name come through the Atlas alerts. If you need anything, call me. Astrophysics has a few tricks left.
He slid a card across the table, winked, and wandered off with a tray. Celia tucked the card away, her expression soft. They finished eating quietly, sharing food and a few smiles in the hush that only comes after days of fear. They returned to the apartment, bodies heavy, the city's blue haze pressing at the windows. Clothes landed in a quiet heap. They crawled into a narrow bunk, feet tangled, heads side by side in the gloom. For a while, they talked nonsense, old stories, constellations, what humans smell like in rain. Then Celia's hand slid beneath the quilt, finding Bez's hip, then lower.
Want to?
Are you compatible?
Why wouldn't I be? You've touched most of me the last few nights. We've mixed with humans before. I'm very similar, just a little slimmer. Some things longer.
She peeled off her t-shirt, slow and deliberate. Bez sat up a little, watching with the fascinated reverence of man, realizing the puzzle was more elegant than had ever guessed. His fingers traced the lean definition of her torso, smooth muscle pack close under skin, the bones narrower than his, a body built for precision. Her breasts were small, perfect, and real, nothing exotic, just her, and that made it more beautiful. She caught his hand, turned it palm up, measured his fingers with a smirk, then kissed him, slow, deep, learning how he moved under breath. Her body slid over him with a smooth, practiced ease. Her hips rocked as she found him, lined up and eased down. The warmth of her folding around him drew a low, involuntary sound from his chest. Motion built in slow arcs, her hands bracing, his grip rising to her waist, then her back. They moved without urgency, a quiet rhythm, the kind that learns instead of takes. Soft grunts, quiet laughter, a breath caught here, a shift there, until Bez pressed upward, jaw clenched, pulse building into tremble. He released with a stifled groan, body shaking beneath her. Celia followed, silent but trembling, sinking into him, her mouth at his neck, lips parting with a wordless exhale. After, she lay across his chest, fingers tracing slow, idle loops above his heart.
I've never tried this with a human. But I like you. Smart. Calm. I could spend the rest of my days with you.
We need a bigger bed if we keep up these acrobatics.
Did you not like this evening's practice?
No complaints at all, but I hit my head on the bed rail 3 times, trying not to fall off.
She laughed, tucked into his side. In the hush between heartbeats and distant sirens, the world spun down to just two bodies, warm and tangled, learning what it meant to be safe, if only for a night. They stayed close, heat lingering, the mess of bodies and tangled sheets grounding them more than any cosmic secret. Bez caught his breath, still feeling the echo of her on his skin. Everywhere Shed touched, he still felt mapped.
Was that good for you? I got a little too caught up to notice much. And you're very quiet compared to humans.
That was perfect for me.
She kissed him, a lingering, laughing press of lips that said she'd heard the question a dozen ways and answered all of them.
You dork. You did notice my tremors, right? And the mess we made on the bed. You can't make me come any better than that. I can't at all, if the situation feels insecure. The fact that you haven't pressed me, haven't rushed me, that's what made this possible tonight, together with you. You'll learn to analyze my Bodis mysteries like any other you process. Just don't go anywhere, please. Or be any different. I like you as you are.
He squeezed her hand, their foreheads touching. Somewhere in the city, alarms and news feeds hummed on. But inside the narrow bed, they mapped new territory, promising not to vanish into the night. In the humming dark, monitors mapped the pulse of a world holding its breath. Blue dots glimmered, size and fleets, still and watchful. Between every beacon, the void pressed in not quite silent, just waiting. The bunker's glow cast shadows up Lavi's arms as he scrolled, eyes not missing the smallest flicker. Celia leaned at his shoulder, hair half loose, reading every screen twice, lips moving with unspoken thoughts. Bez, mug in hand, watched the static, jaw flexing, alert, alive, as if something might emerge any second. Across the wire, Daga's pattern recorder pinged, one new gap, then another, mapping what wasn't there, what couldn't be, and yet moved. Each absence, a question: who's really watching and who will move first? The shadow orbit tightens. In the next episode, a new signal cracks the silence. Who answers, Celia, Daga, Lavi, or something else listening back? If you want to see what happens when the Watchers reveal themselves, let me know, like, comment, or share if you want this story to return from the void and land in your feed.